Hey, man, say, man, this is Dez and Ed.
This is Ed and Dez.
Hey, and it's the podcast from around the way, man. Coming to y'all special today, man. We got a guest. We got Mr. Bryson here, Mr. Grizzlies. Young cat doing his thing, man. Just graduated college. Kudos and salute for that, man.
I appreciate you.
Seems you turn your tassel to the right like Player Fly said. And today, man, we going over basketball, man. Kind of, this is a more in general episode. It's not so much so collectively just about the Grizz, because we love basketball in general. That's what we do. We hoop heads and sports guys in general, well-rounded in a way. So first topic, we're going to start off. We're going to kick it off. Ed came up with this idea, and it's a good idea. Should there be a role player award in the NBA, like an X Factor award? We always talk about that. Everybody talks about an X Factor. For me, I started off. I think it's a great idea. It's a lot of guys, they call them glue guys. They call them the vet in the locker room. We now see the use of Udonis Haslem, like how handy he really is. We got guys like a Steven Adams in the league with the Grizzlies. It's guys scattered all throughout the league. Look what Jared Dudley was doing for all them years that he was just on the team with Bron or James Jones, and look how he's excelled in a front office role. So those are the type of guys that really help propel the league in ways we don't see. Like when we see assists, we see points per game, we see rebounds, we see all of these stats. Great versatile defenders, right? But we don't know about the guy that makes practice that extra 30 minutes to get whatever is done to challenge their star enough to propel them forward with that next season. Those guys. We don't see the Udonis Haslems. We don't see the PJ Tuckers that pull people to the side like, what the hell is you on? Like, that's not something we get glorified enough. And it should be more than just sportsmanship, right? I mean, it's beautiful, though. The Walter Payton Award, the award Conley got one year in the NBA, whatever the equivalent is, sportsmanship award in the NBA. Those are good things, but we also need to see the guys that do the work that is just not going to get heralded. That's for the betterment of the team as a whole. I think that's something that's really important. So I agree with that concept. What about you, Bryson?
I like it. So are you saying more like a mentorship kind of thing too? Like being a mentor on top of what you do on the court too?
As far as the award goes, what I was originally saying, because I had tweeted it out at first, and that's would be a great topic for the show. So I was like, what would should there be an award for okay, so this is what it was. Caleb Martin. All right, so the Eastern Conference Championship, Jimmy Butler got MVP. We all know Caleb Martin was really the MVP of that team. Yeah. And there should be an award that acknowledges that. Okay, give him MVP, but there should be some type of star role. And in general, the NBA has to start celebrating the role players more, because that'll get players to buy into being role players. At the end of the day, you want to be the star. You want to score the most points because that's what gets the most attention. That's what gets the deals. But you got guys who are – Josh Hart is hella charismatic, but he's not a scorer, so he misses out on certain market opportunities. But now he's in a market where they are celebrating what he is, so we see him now. We hear about his twins, the breast milk thing, everything. So – you know what I'm saying? No, I'm wild, man. Josh, you wild. You wild.
I can't believe he actually tweeted that, man.
Yo, hey, to answer that, bro, it's definitely sweet and thick, but hey.
Nah, might talk about coffee cream.
But yo, man, but in general, there needs to be an award that celebrates the role player, where we create star role players, the Draymond Greens. He's pretty much already credited that lane in a sense, so it needs to be more celebrated in terms of the role players getting awards specifically for him, because in turn, and that's another thing too. I don't know how we're going.
Well, I'll say the other thing is, because the sixth man of the year is supposed to be that, but it's not really that, because they really just give it to whoever scores the most points off the bench.
Yeah, that's profit.
That's basically what it is.
Basically the all-star that happens to be playing out, because anytime usually the 6-man stat line is all-star caliber. 17 to 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? 3-4 rebounds, 3-4
And
assists.
it's usually because whatever team has that star scorer off the bench in that mode usually has a star defender in the starting lineup on the wing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because with the Spurs, it was Bruce Bowen.
Big facts.
And that's mental off the bench. With all the teams Crawford played for, it was you named the person, and it was somebody that was just a better defender.
Right.
And then he would come off the bench and tax everybody's, bench players. So yeah, I mean the 6 man is the default.
It's the default. But no, I like that. Like going a step further because I think it's something. I think there's a lot of people that could buy into those roles and could have way longer careers. And I think some of it is like an opportunity thing. Like I know there are some players on other teams that don't get the same opportunity just because they haven't bought in. You know what I mean? But I do think it would be something good. I'd like to see an X Factor award, and even if it was something for the playoffs too. Like if you want to have a playoff X Factor award for just the teams to make the playoffs, and probably give it to Caleb Martin this year. Like definitely, that's something you could recognize them, even if it's not a full regular season thing. Maybe it's they're adding awards all the time at this point. They keep adding more awards. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think guys should get this recognition. So I like the idea. I think it's something that could be good because and I know we talked a little bit about it. It's like with load management and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of times where these guys that are the star in your role players are now forced to be starters, and they are forced to do a lot of other stuff that they're really not supposed to do. Right. And I think it's something that you can really kind of give those guys, something to actually have on their resume too. Because it's really hard for when you're looking at guys and if you're looking at NBA history to look at a guy like, I know Draymond got the Defensive Player of the Year, but a guy like PJ Tucker is a really good player. You look at his thing, he doesn't really have any accolades, but everybody knows what he does.
Right.
So it's like there's something that I think there is something that you could do to give those kind of guys something a little bit more, especially like the defense first guys too, because you'll see some guys like usually they don't give a bench guy like an all defensive team or anything like that either too, which is something that a lot of people probably would be able to get on. So I would like to see it.
I think it'll help the league from the standpoint of in the 80s you had like Cedric Maxwell with the Celtics that won the Finals MVP. Right. You had Andre Iguodala win the Finals MVP. Like these are not star players. At some point, the NBA has to pivot from just a star player being the face or multiple star players because it's pretty obvious they fought hard for the game to be global. But now they got their wish. Now 4 of the top 10 players in the NBA guaranteed to be foreign every year.
That's gonna lead into
another segment. Yeah, and my point to that is when you're dealing with a league that's built like this, it might be better to go ahead and segue while LeBron's still able to put up 25 a game and Steph Curry is still relevant, to segue while they're still active at their height and make it about the whole team. It's several teams. You got the Pacers. I always mention them because I love Tyrese Halliburton game. But you got the Pacers. You got the Grizzlies. You even got Sacramento. You got these young teams. Man, you just can't key in on one guy that's killing it, right? When you look at the Pacers, it's clear Tyrese Halliburton runs the show. But Ben Mathurin is exciting. You flip that. Sacramento. Yeah, De'Aaron Fox is the man over there, but goddamn, Malik Monk put on a hell of a show. Ja Morant. Ja Morant is probably the most electrifying player in sports outside of Patrick Mahomes. They probably 1-2 right now in North America. But when you look at that with the Grizzlies, you got Jaren, got his own. He carved out his own lane. He the block panther. His offense is improving. You got Desmond Bane, who before he split his toe into his big toe, 25 points per game, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. So this league is more loaded and it's a lot more parity. And with that said, that's how you can market this 10 times better than going forward and trying to do one star. Because it's gonna be hard to do one star, and that star is probably not gonna be domestic if you go that route. You're not going to be able to do it for various reasons. You don't have to go into those reasons, but yeah. So that's a good. I'll let you cover the next topic, Ed. Let's pull it up. We still new to being organized, y'all. So
I know y'all like a little substance anyway, so it works out.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, so the next topic is would the league be more marketable across the board if they stop only celebrating the biggest stars and names in these situations?
Will you touch on?
Yeah, so basically in that situation, when it comes to dealing with this, as far as marketability, another thing I had mentioned on Twitter, like a lot of the stuff they were originally tweets, and I was like, man, all right, so we ended up deciding this is great for the show, as far as the topics, like, because it's like in terms of what we're seeing in the league, we're seeing these guys and people love these guys, but the league doesn't celebrate these guys. And this is where it comes to, like, they have to do this more because y'all are pushing the load management thing. So if you're going to push load management when the stars ain't here, the fans need to be familiar with the role players. We need to already be ready. We ready for Luke in our market because we're a different type of fan base. But typically a Luke Kennard is a guy should be, okay, we want to see Luke Kennard tonight. Ja resting, Bane resting, this is the Luke Kennard star show tonight. So people still showing up because the league celebrates those type of players in addition to the star players. So in terms of the marketing thing, the marketing schemes, they have to start being more open-minded because you're going into an era where there's a lot more load management. It doesn't look like that's going to stop because it'll probably become a players' union issue if y'all tell them they got to, they put the rule in place, but they probably push their line with that one. So it's not much more they can do in terms of tightening up, making guys play. So there's going to be some sort of load management, at least even to a minimal degree. So in that time frame, there should be a plan in place to where we're getting the guys, the role players are getting marketed to us just as much. You know what I'm saying? So there needs to be more of a push. Get these role players commercials. When y'all doing these commercials, they need to be more commercials of guys diving for loose balls. That encourages the gameplay that y'all want to recruit and scout anyway. So it just all makes more sense. Why not market more of what you guys are wanting to go in the direction of the video? So,
No, I agree. And I'll say this, but even before you can even get to role players, I think that the NBA can do a better job of just pushing the stars in smaller markets more too. Like a guy like De'Aaron Fox, I think should be getting a lot more love. A guy like Tyrese Halliburton, like you were saying, he should get a lot more love. Even if it's a guy like Anthony Simons, like there's a lot of really good players just across the league that are young that I think they can market more. And I think that you're seeing now with all the people that have had this pushback, especially with like kind of like the first take stuff and like the halftime show, everybody talking about how it's not good and how they're like, it's almost like the basketball world as a whole is not necessarily waking up to it because there's a lot of people that have already pushed that out, but it's like the common fan is now getting to the point to where I think with League Pass and with social media, you can see so much more from other teams where you can see what these players are doing and you see this and you see, oh, this dude just had 40 points. Why are they not talking about this morning? Why are we talking about still LeBron? Even like people are talking about at the end, the Lakers lost. They're talking about the Lakers instead of talking about the Nuggets going to the finals and it's stuff like that. Yeah, and it's stuff like that that I think they really just need to focus on. That is cover the game, not the stars. Like that's the number one thing I say is they need to cover the game more than just the stars, and then cover the stars in the smaller markets the same way. I know that, and this is the thing that's really interesting is they've proven that they can do it. Because you'll notice the role players in bigger markets will get that. Like everybody talks about Austin Reeves. They always talk about Austin Reeves because he plays in LA.
Right.
But, Desmond Bane, better player than Austin Reeves whole season. I guarantee you there were more tweets about Austin Reeves on the official NBA account than Desmond Bane. Not even a question. And that's not even a disrespect to Austin Reeves at all. Like, he's a hooper.
And he's a killer. He got that.
I just think it needs to be, and I get it. They're gonna push to the bigger fan bases, and that's what it is. But I think that with, like I said, with the proliferation of social media and everybody's kind of seeing more than they've ever been able to see before with League Pass and stuff like that. Like you can watch more teams than you could like even 10 years ago.
And I'll say this too. This is another great thing about Ja. We talk about on Twitter all the time. He's unprecedented. He's doing something like Mike, even like when you get to talking about Mike, LeBron, all of these guys, you know, I heard somebody mention he's in that tier in terms of marketability, right? I said, you know what? Even with that, he's in a tier that even Jordan is not in terms of marketing, because Ja is selling sneakers crazy in Memphis, in a small market. That is unprecedented. When have you ever seen somebody sell sneakers in a small market other than Chris Paul and Kevin Garnett?
Penny did it, but
Who?
Penny did it back in the day.
But
That's
was
because Nike gave them such a big campaign.
And it's Orlando still. He was in Orlando. So you playing in a major market. He wasn't.
Orlando more of a mid market. They not quite the San Franciscos and LA's.
It's not as small as Memphis in terms
No, because it's the whole Central Florida.
Right.
Because it's for Tampa,
Exactly.
it's for Clearwater, other places like that.
Which is why Central UCF it just got moved into the Big Ten, and Memphis is still.
Well, UCF got the largest student population in the country.
Right.
So that's got a lot to do with it.
In the largest state or the second largest state.
No,
or third largest, one of them.
They like top 6 in populations.
Right. So in general, what he's doing is still unprecedented in terms of doing it in a market as small as Memphis.
It's social media though. When
Right.
you look at
that was what I was getting to. My point of it. The whole point is the market size truly doesn't matter as much as it once did, because if people like you, they're gonna become a fan. People became a fan of KD and OKC. People didn't give a damn about where you play. We want to see KD. We want to see Russ. You know, so that and then now you see the evolution of that with Ja. Like I said, even the guys you mentioned, Penny. Like you said, even with him, that's Orlando. So and then Penny was a totally different dynamic to it, because there was a push for Penny even before he even started selling the sneakers. So, you know, that was even a different dynamic. And he played in a much bigger market. Orlando is Central Florida, like you said. That's still a much bigger market.
And he was winning at a higher clip when he first got in.
And guess what he did? He played with another superstar.
Yeah, let's say with Shaq.
He played with Shaq. So y'all markets are being crossed. Your fan bases are being crossed because they're watching the same product every night. So even that's totally unprecedented. There's no knock on Shaq or anybody else that's on Memphis. It's just in general, no, there's not a Shaq on the team. It's, you know, in terms of marketability, it's crazy. Yeah. Especially the other guy. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's unprecedented. So the whole point of me saying that is with Ja. He's showing and redefining what's marketable, and he's redefining the importance of a market size in the NBA. So now you're dealing with somebody who's pushing new boundaries and showing you it's okay to market the smaller guy, the guys that small, with the De'Aaron Foxes, or you know, you mentioned other guys, but those guys, it's okay to market these guys now because of the fact they're actually, you know. There's a precedent for it. So I definitely would say that.
And then you talk about like social media being a big part of that. It's not even just like NBA players. Like we'll have Mikey Williams in Memphis for the Tigers. Mm-hmm. That man has had millions of followers since he was 15. And he's gonna bring all of that to the school.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
They're just not gonna forget about him now that he's in Memphis now. You know, all those people that follow him, they're gonna follow him here.
Regardless,
they're gonna it didn't matter, man.
But LaMelo went to Australia. Where was it? Australia,
yeah,
right?
He went to Australia. Well, he went a bunch of places.
Right.
He ended up in Australia.
Yeah, right. I forgot about the place where he had the water.
Eastern Europe.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, he's exactly. So yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? There's new precedent in terms of being able to market guys despite the market.
So, yeah, I mean, the social media, having the world at the palm of somebody's hands, it changed things. As somebody that remembers life before any of that, like well before, back when, you know, the little green box in the neighborhood or where you saw all the bicycles, that's how you knew what people were. Like, I remember that time. Right. And social media changed that, man. Like, everything is right there with you. Anything. So for the NBA, and they have an international product. The NFL doesn't have an international product, realistically, outside of Europe. And that's just in Western Europe. Eastern Europe, they don't have a product at all. But the NBA has a strong product in Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Asia, like everywhere. China, they got the African League. So they can do things with social media they're not doing themselves any favors by still having one or two faces. It's, that's the whole point of it all. Because Kobe was bigger in China than any other player, but LeBron was still the bigger player in the United States any day of the week. And this was when Kobe was winning before LeBron was winning anything. LeBron was still that guy. And Bron, he top whatever for me. Like, he up there. But at the same time, Kobe was the guy in China. So that just lets you know how varying the NBA could really do things if they put on a different type of thinking cap, I believe. Because what you do when you consistently blast out people from the big market team, like, or when you tell smaller markets, this person will be better with this team, you're disrespecting the other 22 teams in the league. Mm-hmm. Because there's only like 5 or 6 really big markets. Other than that, some markets like Minneapolis, that's the whole state. Like, that's why it's there. So when you say things like, hey, this guy should have went to the Knicks, it's like, no, the other 25 teams don't believe that. So that's that belief that you have. You don't want to hurt the product like that. You want to continue to diversify it. And I think the NBA would do itself a lot of favors if they diversified far more than what they've been doing already.
Big things.
And I think the big thing is you're also seeing people like I said earlier, the common fan is calling for this too. It's not even just like the big like watch basketball everyday people that are talking about this. It's the people that just tune in, like people like my grandma that just wants to call me and talk about Jimmy Butler. You know what I mean? Because she really likes Jimmy Butler, right? There's people like that are like, why are we on ESPN still talking about teams that aren't playing anymore when we have 2 teams in the finals? You know what I mean? And it's like, it's something that even people that don't watch every day can see. So I think it's something I think they can get a lot better. And I think I just hope they listen. Because now people are saying it, and you talk about social media, people are blasting out on social media too. Like, I've seen tweets about it up and down the timeline, like, especially from the Nuggets fans now, too. They've been the real ones I've seen on it.
I'm going to keep it 100. Like, the Twitter is what made me start really paying attention to Caleb Martin. Because I wasn't really paying attention to the series. I didn't really have much interest in it. But people killed Caleb Martin. I knew who Caleb Martin was because I remember the Twins, mm-hmm. And I remember when they first came out and drafted. Well, one was the second round pick, and I think the other one was undrafted. So, but anyway, so I was familiar with him, but Twitter made me want to go watch him and check him out. So, like you said, the fans are talking. It was really the fans tweeting about him. It wasn't, any other source of it. So, totally.
It's something I want to take the time to address. Just flying off the cuff here, but I want to address what Kendrick Perkins had to say, but not the Ja Morant side of it, though. I want to address the side about talking about a city. When you talk about a person, a place of residence, where they come from, right? And you're completely ignorant of what you're talking about. At a certain point, you have to be quiet because words are dangerous. Words can set precedents. They can set the table for how someone views something. Those incidents didn't happen in these city limits. Really didn't, for the most part. Keep that in mind, because what you're doing is you're typecasting a lot of people that don't deserve it. A lot of honest, hardworking, tax-paying people, man. And then you are also going with the guys that if you went somewhere else, all of the problems that exist in Memphis would stop. The problems you are describing are universal problems in the United States of America. Stop. You are not a social justice person. You're not a socio-economic person. Those are not your strengths, brother. I mean no harm when I say that to you, but you're not built like that to speak on things like that, especially to a worldwide audience with a big conglomerate like Disney backing you. Those are dangerous sentiments you put out there. Don't paint a certain picture, man, for a bunch of people that honestly don't want you with the paintbrush. I don't want you with the palette or the paintbrush for me, brother. I'm being honest with you. You keep it in your back pocket. I mean that. Like, don't do that. Just be quiet. Just talk about the player. Talk about what's going on with that, how you view that. Don't delve off into all these other things. That ain't your place. I mean no harm when I say that, like to you or any of those other pundits out there. You know, well, I do mean it to Doug Gottlieb. Like, fuck you. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't like you credit card thieving motherfucker. Because you got a lot of you got a certain undertone in you, so I don't too much appreciate you. And you know, there's another cat I want to say something, but that's more college basketball related. But yeah, you know, we notice a bias and we notice things throughout the years that y'all said and y'all open y'all mouths and said about us. And you know, we took it in stride for a while. You know, we didn't want to fit a certain narrative that people painted for us. We didn't want to fit inside a stereotype. But fuck it, I'll jump in it like double dutch now, if that's what y'all want, because we can't let y'all do that no more. Like, as a whole community, we got to stand up and unify and we got to blow these people out the water, because it's at this point what they're doing is really bad. Because to just flat out get on TV and suggest that one of the faces of the league, most electrifying player there, should just get up and skedaddle, we should just send them off when he on the 5-year guaranteed contract. Dude, you lost your ever-loving God-stopping fucking mind. I'm being honest. Like, you out of your mind. I don't know who put you up to that, but that's my take.
And it's probably, honestly, the most box office young star in the league under 25 right now. So, like, we happen to have that guy. You know, I totally agree in terms of dealing with. Now, I will say this with, you know, maybe I'm just an objective thinker. I don't know. But at the same time, we do have a stigma about us. Let's keep it real. I would be remiss not to acknowledge that. And to a certain degree, we celebrate. So what is our chant? What is our team anthem?
It is Whoop That Trick.
Which is, if you want to really get deep, what is he talking about?
Well, we all know he's talking about a pimp
and
beating the hell out of Trick who didn't pay the prostitute.
Who wrote the song and who was the artist or the character that made the song beat?
A pimp on a fictional movie about pimping.
And who wrote it?
Oh, was it Brewer, right? The white guy from Memphis.
No, I'm talking about as far as the artist who produced.
Oh, the song, Al Capone and 3 6. Yeah.
So, you know, it's not to say it's not wrong. That's who we are. That's just who we are. But man, we got a lot going on in our city. People paying attention to, and they'll group certain stuff in. So we have to acknowledge that too about our city. And that's why, as much as I love basketball, we have to, take more action in terms of cleaning out some things about our city up. Because let's be real, it is a social media area. So what you think people don't know about, they watching just like you. They got access to WREC news just like you. They got access to Fox 13. Fox 13 go viral every day on Twitter.
Yep.
Fox 13. So he's seeing the cameraman get robbed.
Mm-hmm.
What? Do you see that every day in New York, LA?
I don't know.
Chicago? Do we see it?
I don't see
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's just be real.
So, but
do you see it? I'm saying yes or no.
But the way the algorithms work, we wouldn't.
But regardless of the fact, they see us, and in some day we don't see them. So maybe that's another thing about our city and citizens we need to, because I noticed in Houston, they don't report as much about crime. They sweep a lot under the rug in terms of what happened.
Well, just to piggyback out there, with crime in Memphis, I learned from sitting in on city council meetings and all that. The city of Memphis reports crime in a way a lot of other cities don't. We report major crimes. It could be a purse snatching. They report it as a major crime nationally. That's something that hurts statistics. If you report every single thing, but that's more political because that just leads to more funding for law enforcement. So that's more of a political game.
Or allocating the percentage.
Yeah.
Exactly. So and so if we're just being real and holding ourselves accountable, he ain't totally off base. That's just the reality.
He ain't totally off base, but he out of place.
And maybe so. But it's got us talking about it. Mm-hmm. So it serves some type of purpose because it creates a conversation. Hey, maybe we do need to clean something up about our city. We got a mayoral election. Shout out to Tammy Sawyer. She ran a tweet a few days ago. She ran a poll. And if I'm not mistaken, when I was watching the poll at the time, 60 to 70% of the city that voted was not aware that there's a mayoral election coming up.
Yeah.
So that all plays into it. And I'm not trying to go too far with it, but if we want to talk, if we're gonna talk about the city, let's talk about the city then. Don't. I'm not one of those. I can't do that, bro. I can't do that. I'm not gonna sit there and play like it's all we just innocent Memphis. Like
No,
bro.
innocent about any city.
Like this city, we are what we are, bro. Like it's certain stuff I almost don't even want to come here because I don't want to see you leave.
But suggesting going somewhere else, you won't have
I totally
issues.
agree.
That's what he was like.
Like I said, there's two parts to this.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
That's why I said he wasn't the one.
But
not saying you don't talk about it, but he ain't the guy to do it.
Ain't nobody else willing to do it. So sometimes it ain't coming from if don't nobody else step up and do it. It's gonna come from somebody that you don't want to do it.
But it
that's
doesn't
just the reality.
Nuance. I get that completely, man. In this city, in these city limits, bottom line, you see what I got. Look, we love ball.
Me too. And you know, hey, you see me
at the end of the day,
you know what I'm saying? We in here.
That's what we love, and that's what we in here talking about. This is something I want to talk about as well, right? This is what I noticed. The setup for the finals, the way they started, and you kind of touched on this about your grandma. The NBA, they did an absolute horrible job at advertising this final from the jump. I saw like the celebrity deathmatch looking cartoon they did to intro it.
Oh yeah, and that's
like it was like Joker on the block.
Yeah, when I saw that, what they told me was that all of these people that get paid hundreds of thousands to seven figures to talk sports, and all of the people behind the scenes that do graphics and all these things, what they told me was these people had no idea whatsoever how to promote these two teams. Especially now, they would have had an idea how to do Miami if LeBron was still there, if a D Wade was still there, but because they wasn't there. It looks like they were completely clueless. They just said, let's fly off the handle. They probably fed it through an AI system and said, create a finals intro. Like, that's what it looked like because that was zany. Have you ever read a Mad magazine? That was zany. That was bonkers. Like, I want to know, like, from fans out there, speaking directly to y'all, like, what do you, well, I'm asking y'all, but speaking to them, what is it that you think the NBA needs as a wake-up call to address the other about 25 teams in this league? There's not Miami, well, it's not Chicago, LA, either New York team, well, either LA team, either New York team, Chicago, or the Warriors. Because that's basically what the NBA is revolving, and Boston because of the history. But that's it. There's nothing else it really even addresses. So what do you think the NBA, what is it going to take for them to get the hint?
Now they used to push the Spurs.
And they're going to this year. When
they'll push him. They work hard to make this happen.
Well, the number one thing is going to be money. When it comes to the NBA, it has to be money. Right. So if the ratings go down for this finals, which I don't know what they're going to be, I know the ratings in the past have been down the last couple of years, and I think it has forced them to try to do more of that already. And I think that's something that if they come into this finals and it's down from last year again, I would not be surprised if we see a lot more of that next year. Because I think that's really what it comes down to is ratings and money. And that's the only place you're really going to hit the NBA in their pockets. Like, that's really the only way it's going to change anything. The way I look at it.
Get it.
It kind of goes back again to kind of slightly back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of marketing other guys. It shows that their problems translates just period, even with the stars of other teams. The NBA is gonna have to they're gonna have to regroup or reform their marketing strategy in terms of how they approach marketing with these guys, because the reality of it is folks ain't really gonna watch, it's looking shaky about who's gonna watch the Miami Denver series, you know what I'm saying? Because folks were really hoping for LA, the Lakers Boston series. That's what everybody really wanted to see. So
and it's a fact that the NBA wanted at least one of LA or Boston in the finals. Man, not even a question about it.
In this era, they ain't had it since LeBron had it in the bubble. Mm-hmm. They ain't had it, they had it last year, but it's not often that one of those two teams have been in there the last few years. So man, they definitely gonna have to in terms of like your guys like the Denvers with Jokic and many other cities, Evan Mobley, just a lot of other guys are gonna have to be market it, bro. You have to give them folks a spotlight to where when these teams come up in the finals, because they're the new teams coming up, the teams that have these big stars, well, specifically the LA markets, those guys are 32, 33, 34, 38 years old. You know what I'm saying? So we only have so much longer with them in terms of how much you're going to get out of them. So, and the small market teams were down for so long, they accumulated so many lottery picks that now it's just a lot of averages kicking in terms of them getting the right guys for the future. So a lot of your Charlotte, New Orleans, Memphis, OKC, San Antonio, all these small market guys, even Utah, with the way they just with Sean Laurie marketing, the way he revamped his career out there, and the Walker Kessler cat. You know, so all of these small markets are coming up now. They ain't finna have something to say now. So yes, they're gonna have to start marketing those teams, bro, because a lot of your new stars that are coming up in the smaller markets that you traditionally don't even know. You get 1-2 games out here.
And they have put stuff in the CBA with like the Supermax stuff in there too, which they actually did to. Like that was the one thing that I think that they did. What was the right thing to do was to give the Supermax option, so that it's a lot harder for these players to say no to this extra money and then just leave and go somewhere else. Because I think that's something that's been a big change too. Is you haven't really seen as much, like, you know, there's been a few.
Can you elaborate on that? As far
yeah,
as
so like for the Supermax option, the team that you're on can pay you the most money.
Right.
So they talk about like the whole like Jaylen Brown. They're talking about, are they going to give him this $300 million?
Right.
Only the Celtics could do that.
Right.
The other teams can't come and sign him for that same amount of money. So it's like, it has to be, if I want to go somewhere else, I have to take less money to just leave as a free agent.
Right. And I think 4 years if you go somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah, you don't get the extra year, and it's less money per year. So I think I think it's been a good thing, and I think it's something that's going to help this younger generation. You're going to see a lot less people leave. I think it's like you'll still have the 1 or 2 guys, because you know that's just how the NBA is. Somebody's going to get traded, but I think you're going to see less of the big star players and more of like the role players get moved around a lot more around like the core guys.
Jeremy Grant going to Detroit.
So yeah, stuff like that. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of that. And I think you even saw that. I know there was the big like KD trade at the trade deadline and Kyrie. Like you're going to have that kind of stuff if somebody just wants out. But if you really think about it, a lot of the younger guys that are coming up as superstars, they seem like they're going to be there for a while. Like Luka's going to be in Dallas for a while. We know there's a lot of stuff going on with Ja, but he's under contract for the next 5 years. So there's a lot of guys coming up that they are going to be on these teams. They're going to be. I know Cat had a big contract too. That Anthony Edwards is going to be signing a contract soon up there too, most likely. So there's a lot of guys that they're going to be on their teams for a long time. True. And it's going to be up to the teams. The teams are going to have to trade them. It's going to be less people leaving in free agency. I think that's something that
because the money's going to have to match them.
Yeah,
especially with the way that CBA set up in that luxury tax. Because old boy in Golden State got the hell out because of it. I know he don't want to be a part of breaking that up.
2nd April. Yeah.
I got a question for y'all, and it's something that I thought about. Like once I saw the draft lottery, I thought about this. Who do you think going number 2?
That's a good question. Oh man, who got it? Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
Who you think should get? Or who do you think they should get it to?
Guess go first. Let him get the top.
I'm gonna say, I think Scoot is the guy that for most teams they would take him at 2. But I wouldn't be surprised if they take Brandon Miller, just because I think they want to keep building around LaMelo.
Right.
Now, not to say Scoot is the kind of guy, I think maybe they could try to figure both of them out to play together. And I know that LaMelo is a little bit taller, but you know he's not really like a defender. You know, he's tall, but
you don't want him being the primary defender.
Exactly. So I think they could figure it out, but I think Brandon Miller is an easier fit with LaMelo.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'd be an easier fit because I think Scoot and LaMelo both, they have to have the ball in their hands so much. And not to say like that they couldn't figure it out, but maybe one of their development is kind of slowed a little bit because you don't get to be the guy. So I really like Brandon Miller's game too. I got to see him live and in person when he came to Knoxville this year, and Yeah.
What you take away from him when you?
When I saw him, he can get whatever shot he wants. Like a lot of times because of his size, and he's really good creating off the dribble. It's kind of like a bigger dude, kind of a bigger kind of forward, and I think that's really going to be the thing that is going to kind of. He's like a scorer, like he's just a pure scorer, man. And I think that's something to have a guy like that next to LaMelo, who is more like pass first. I think they could be a really good duo.
What you got here? What you think?
I totally agree. Man, I think as down as people mentioning more. When I first heard people mention Scoop going to Charlotte, what? Why would they do that? Why would you why would you do it? Go get two guys that want to handle the ball and be primary ball handlers. But then I remember one Scoop had mentioned if they asked him of everybody in the league, who would you want to play with? He said Ja.
Mm-hmm.
So that shows the willingness to want to play in the backcourt with another guard. So, and we know LaMelo is a team guy. He's been playing with Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham. He's been playing with plenty of guys that they dribble, they rock. So, in terms of Scoop, he's shown that willingness, so the potential is there, and he has the length and the athleticism where he could potentially defend it too.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
He's got, you definitely ain't finna just push him around. Scoot is like a tank. So the girth is there too for him to be able to be a little more physical on the wing if he be in the wingspan. So there's something there with it. I see that aspect, but at the same time, a guy that's much, much bigger on size and fit in terms of just, I'm a BPA guy, but in this situation, I think they got to go with the guy that's an obvious. I don't have to worry, or there's not a question of should the concepts gel or, should that work. Those concepts should work perfect in terms of the LaMelo concept and Brandon Miller concept or the arch type of player style, whatever. So I definitely think that those two guys are there. But I'm curious about Amen as well. So that's something I'm definitely thinking about as an option too. So he's another guy. So it's definitely interesting.
For me, the number 2 pick, I thought about some people it'd be a crazy scenario. I thought about Jordan as a GM. I thought about the moves he's made so far in his career as an owner and a GM combined front office. I'm gonna say this: I believe in building around the best possible prospect. Mm-hmm. With that said, this is my take. I take Scoop and I use LaMelo to fleece the hell out of somebody else. I would use LaMelo Ball as a 6'6.5" point guard with vision and the ability to score. I would use and his length to get in passing lanes, disturb offensive flows, all of that. I'm looking at Scoop right now. When I look at Scoop, you know what I see? Especially with him choosing Steph choosing him to mentor him, what I see is somebody that's going to be doing what he do for at least a decade at a high level. That's what I see. This type of decision making the young man on already. He already chose to go make money instead of the NCAA. So that just lets you know where his mind is. He's a pro.
Yes.
Consummate professional.
And I also say this, the thing I noticed too, I don't know if y'all watched that game where they played Wembanyama's
Metropolitan 92.
Yeah, they came over here and they played the G League at night. And his mentality is what I liked, is that, Victor was getting, getting his, right? And he came in, he went straight at him. He was like, I'm taking it at you. I'm going to the rim. I don't care. You 7'5", whatever however tall he is. He didn't care. He's like, I'm going to go in and I'm going to prove to these people that I should be a number 1 pick. And
that's what he's been saying.
And honestly, I think that in a lot of years, he would be the number 1 pick.
It's just, you got an unreal prospect ahead of him. But with me with Scoop, I'm just looking at that. Charlotte needs excitement in that.
I ain't gonna lie though, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. And I know we wrap it up, but we gotta get to the little fashion part of it and wrap it up. But I definitely think you tripping. You said Trey LaMelo, tripping. Bro, you guarantee somebody who's proven already now he could sell sneakers at Puma. He's selling them at Puma. You dig? Like he's got Puma back hot to the little kids. He got them buying colorful Pumas. and they're buying them at $150 a pop. That's top of the line at Puma, pretty much.
Yeah.
So for him, I look at that when I terms of talking about trade. That's why, like, anybody talk about trade, John, man, that's you, man. Lane's Death Row Records, pretty much. If I was the owner of the team, I would bring them back no matter what. You hear my guy.
I'm with
You know what I'm saying?
I feel the same way.
And as far as LaMelo goes, bro, this is a guy, if there's anybody else outside of Ja who's already like right there, it's LaMelo. That's all.
And he has the same thing, like I said, with Mikey. Like, this is a guy who's had
Melo translate even in China. Yeah. He already has a fan base in China.
I get the star power.
And that's something when you're dealing with a Michael Jordan who's known for star power, that's huge.
It's two types of star power, though. You got personality star power, well, it's three. You got personality star power, which Melo has plenty of. Then you got on the court star power, which Scoop got way more.
But we don't know that yet. We've seen many guys come and go.
I'm willing to.
They never did
I'm
what
gonna
we
say
thought
this.
they were gonna do.
I'm willing to bet on Scoop because I remember Baron Davis before the knee went out.
Yeah, me too.
I bet on Scoop. And Scoop,
but he ain't that though. No,
he's jump shot though.
And he's not. But he's not the shot creator, the scorer that Baron. Baron's way more efficient. He was unstoppable creating.
I'm gonna still bet on
at all three levels.
I'm betting on
Baron might not have been a better. Baron might not have been a better shooter per se, but Baron was a more clutch shooter than him because Baron, he clutch shots no matter where they were, and Baron was a leader, a real floor general, and that's something like has Scoop really took that team and went Ignite and done, it's Ignite, but still they didn't run through that turf.
With that kid, I got a lot of faith in his game.
I do too. I definitely see him.
And with his head on straight like it is, you throw him out there in a thriving Charlotte, because Charlotte's population is growing because half the East Coast emptying out them high-ass cost of living.
Right.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, if you want an above-the-rim point guard that can play at max speed with the ball in his hand and is unselfish, like you said, he's willing to play with Ja,
right.
Listen very closely to Michael Jordan. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, you're a hell of a guy. I'm telling you right now, man. And this is another thing. What you could get for LaMelo on the wing right now might fuck around and be able to get the third pick.
Well, hell no. I'm not worried about getting no third pick or no second option with a number one guy. I just ain't. I'm not gonna use the number one guy to get a number 2 or 3 guy.
Well, that makes sense, but it's crazy. We all naturally had 3 different mindsets because y'all, so that makes sense though. You know what I'm saying? Because you saw Brandon Miller in person.
Yeah.
He like what LaMelo got, so he like, hell, they could probably play together. They both want to
anything. I just drive. If anything, to me, you're making the case that we just need to draft Scoop. I mean, if I'm Charlotte, hey, y'all just need to draft.
And
Scoop
I can see that because I will say I think that Scoop might be the better prospect down the line.
I can see it.
I think down the line he could be a better player. I think both of them are going to be really good. Though. Right. I think both. I don't think. It's going to be one of those things where you might look back and think maybe we should have drafted Scoop, but I think that both of them are going to be real good.
And I'm just not. And then we got to remember this too. And I know we get to the segment like LaMelo was an all-star his second year.
Yeah, he star power.
That don't happen often. Like, and he not just off the court, he really was legit an all-star. He took that team to the play-in, and that team was a disaster the year before.
He a hell of a ball player.
So like it's like. He's already proven it, and you're getting rid of somebody to hope that this guy gonna come in and do what LaMelo is already showing you. All we need him to do is stay healthy. So that's the only issue to me with LaMelo is staying healthy. Well, yeah, we gotta get to the last little quick seg to
we're gonna start with Ed, man. In the
showboat. Yeah. I definitely had to rock them, what I'm saying? They playing today. So we definitely had to show love, man. Those guys have turned the season around. Hey, I was there at the beginning of the season. So I ain't bandwagon. I got the shirt the first game. You know what I'm saying? So I was there. You know what I'm saying? So I was wearing the shirt now. Kudos to them. I actually was going to wear the shirt after the first game, but I forgot to put it on. But I'm making sure I remember now because they deserve it. So shout out to them boys, man. They definitely putting on the product. You got people saying that now the Showboats have more buzz in Memphis than the Memphis Tigers do. So that the Memphis Tigers football team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that even that's a hell of an accomplishment for a team that's just
popping up.
Yeah, first year back. You know what I'm saying? So that cool. Shout out to those boys that were 4-3 last week. got over the 500 hump. Right now, they in the playoff race. So if the playoffs start today, they'll be in the playoffs. So shout out to them, man. I hated it happened to Brady White, but when they made the switch to the other kid, man, it turned the whole season around. So shout out to Todd Haley for looking past the star power of the market and actually making the right move that turned the season around. And I got on my jeans, and then I love my boy. So they brought the Yeezys back. So I had to definitely show y'all the Yeezy clouds this week. My fault. So you know what I'm saying? Definitely want to just let y'all know what it is for the week, man. Shout out to the showboats too.
And we get a guest shine, so we're gonna go to my guy Bryson next.
So I got this shirt the last time I was in Memphis, which was I came down on MLK Day and I saw this Grizzly Sun game and I left with this shirt. I love NBA Jam. I know we got the NBA Jam thing back here.
Yeah.
I played it like on my Xbox when I was a little kid too. So that's how I started playing it.
Okay.
But I always loved NBA Jam. So when I saw this shirt, I have another one that's Ja and Jaren.
I got that on the turquoise.
The other color one. And then I saw that they had one with Ja and Bane, and I was like, well, I got to get this one too. So I was like, I had it with me, and I was like, if I'm coming on here, definitely have to rep some Grizzly stuff, no question. So I picked this shirt, and then I just got some of these regular white Nike shorts on, and then some Air Forces. But
hey man, give me 2 per. You heard?
And shout out to Bryce, because Bryce really did this totally unexpected. You know what I'm saying? He came down to town, was tending to other business, and he came out. He didn't even know how the format of the show really works in terms of what we do. So Bryson came on and just ran with it right away. So bro, man, thank you utmost, bro, for you to just pop up like that, bro. You was early. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was late.
This man called, and I was in the shower, bro. I was the whole shower, went to the balcony. I looked out. I said, oh, shit, he outside. Let's get it together. And, shout out to this brother, man. For him to be so young and so on his shit, bro, man, I just want to give you your flowers while you're here, bro, off the top, because I see where you're going. I see. You might see the shades when you take the boots on. I see you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You doing your things, bro, and shout out to you coming on with us, bro.
Of course, yeah. Hey, look, always glad to support y'all, and I appreciate y'all, too, because one of the biggest things when I started the spaces, both of y'all have been big in that and really helped me, grow a lot more just from coming in and talking to me. So, I was like, if I'm in town, there's no reason I can't at least come on and
we show you more than this, man. We go like kicking sometimes.
Thank you to you, because y'all, again, you and EJ with the spaces, man. Y'all really, in terms of the fan experience in Memphis, y'all changed it for us.
Yeah,
so
did.
Bro, y'all part of history, bro. So shout out to you for that, because y'all changed the Memphis Grizzlies experience in terms of the fans. We got somewhere where we got to go in, and we didn't have it before.
And the unify.
What? And it's organized when you go in this joint. These young cats, bro. Him and EJ and Young Harry. Shout out to y'all and Memphis Wilcox. Man, shout out to y'all, man. Just wanted to say that again, bro. Kudos to y'all.
Me, I'm rocking the Mitchell and Ness penny throwback with the sleeves on it. You see the Hardaway on the back, baby. I'm a big fan, man. And then, on the feet, man, I got the original OG foam positive pennies. You say in pristine condition? Yeah.
What size you wear, man?
You gonna jack me down?
I'm gonna know you're an offer, man. I'm gonna know
I wear an 8.5.
Dang.
But yeah, man. That's what I'm rocking today with some, I don't know what type of jeans. I'm gonna be honest. I think I got these things from Aeropostale. Crazy, right? I know. I got some $20 jeans with some things on. But this is Dez and Ed.
This is Dez.
Hey, this is a podcast from around the way, man. We're gonna see y'all next time. Shout out to Bryson for coming through. Appreciate you.
Yeah.